How's it going, guys? Sorry, I had some serious traffic. Was kind of hell getting set up today. How's everybody doing? Got 4 people there in here already. Let's see. Ace pressed suck. Shut. I can't say how your last name works. What's up, man? Yeah, you're here 20 minutes early, and I was about 15 minutes late. So sorry that you had to wait so long. No pain, no gain. Patience is key. JTS. That's the point, right? And that's why I'm doing this, right? But yeah, there's not a lot going on today. I haven't seen anything new, at least, that we didn't touch on yesterday, or that's not just like reoccurring news right now. So I figured I'd come in and answer the big question that some people have been asking me on Twitter and in chat too, as why am I living in my car? And yes, I am. Why am I doing it? Nothing happened other than me being tired of not being able to buy enough XRP. Yeah, I've worked, minimum wage jobs basically since I got out of the Navy. And other than that, I've gone to school and I've never gotten a job in my area of degree, which is neuroscience. So, or psych, or IT, which I have an IT degree from the Navy. So, nobody wants to hire me because I don't have experience in those fields. I'm living in a car, but yeah, I do kind of need a van. What's up, puppers? Oh, he's scared of the camera. What's up? Adorable pups. But yeah, when do you think XRP will go up? I'm not sure when, but I'm chilling in the car until it goes up. Wait, he was in the Navy? Yeah, I was in the Navy from 2008 through 2009, and I was in a plane crash and was medically discharged due to some complications. But yeah, so now I don't have and because I was discharged after that plane crash due to PTSD was one of the things, they pulled all my clearances. So that's one reason why I can't get a job, or wasn't able to, go and work in the IT field right after the Navy. So I went and did some odd jobs for a few years, and then after that, I decided I wanted to go back to college to try and get a degree in something else I had found interest in, which is neuroscience and human psychology. And that went over like a lead balloon because my professor was a devout Christian who did not like the notion that I believed that I understood how consciousness as a quantum field operates, due to an obsession during the time out of the Navy where I became obsessed with quantum mechanics and how fundamental physics is given rise to through quantum mechanics. And so I tried to apply that understanding to neuroscience while I was in school. My professor did not like it, so yeah, it was ugly. I ended up withdrawing and spending the last 2 years since I withdrew, just working any job I can to make as much money as I can to dump into crypto. And I started out with Bitcoin because that's what I knew back in 2016. That I spent last year and a half of my time in school, I became obsessed with Bitcoin and trying to understand what the heck this internet money was, right? Like many of us are still doing to this day, trying to understand this internet money thing. And that's what ended up leading me into XRP in 2018, when I was like, wow, I'm being an idiot out here, trying to invest in a coin that I think is that's gonna replace the government's, Bitcoin. Hunting career going, yeah. My career now is being a YouTuber because there's enough of you that tune into my content regularly, and some really awesome people in the community who contribute to me regularly, so I can just come out and share my views and share my ideas. Enough of you actually seem to enjoy it that, that's what I do now. That's why I'm constantly creating content. It's not just, it's because you guys ask for it, you guys enjoy it. People keep prodding me, asking me, why you're not making videos now, where you been, things like that, anytime I go offline for a while. So, and I appreciate talking with everybody out here. There's so many really open-minded people in our community that it's not common. You don't bump into so many open-minded people in your day-to-day life. You have to go onto the internet to find such such caliber of people as yourselves in the chat, and I really appreciate all of you. Was the crowd noise our coyote? It's a crowd. There's something going on their stage down there. I'll zoom in on it for you a little bit. I'm not sure what these people are doing down there. They might be rehearsing for some kind of play or something though. But yeah, there's a play. We'll walk a little bit away from them so that you don't. Would I get an RFID chip? That's like a biometric chip, you mean, right? RFID chip? Is that what that is? I've heard RFID, but I don't know what it is. I think that's biochips, but no, actually I wouldn't. I would get a neural lace implant though. I would get an implant to connect me neurologically to the web, but I don't know that I'd get a chip in my hand just to go and make a purchase at the store. Like, nah, there has to be some kind of benefit to it. Much love, Steven. Thank you for the $24. That I really appreciate it. And I feel that we don't really need luck in XRP. That's actually why I'm out here doing this. It's not because of hard times. It's because, yes, I've always been a low wage earner, but most Americans are. I'm just taking the low wage earning that I get and maximizing its future potential by investing as much as I can into XRP, into the digital asset ecosystem. Thank you, Jimmy. You always have good information. Just started watching. Well, I'm glad you appreciate. And granted, the channel is going to go a lot more towards live streaming and really just trying to answer everybody's questions out there that I can and keep everybody in the loop with what's going on day to day. But yeah, since you're new to the channel, if you haven't already, you should definitely check out a lot of my older content where I really dug deep into what's going on in the greater picture, the greater scheme of things, and why I've become so convinced that XRP is going to hit this astronomical price point that I'm out here, living in my car, roughing it just to save a few extra bucks to dump into XRP. Do I believe in WCut? Do I believe in life after death? Sorry you left college. Well, the college bit, I'll get on that first. I'm not sorry I left college, honestly. I made that choice just as I made the choice to come and stay in my car. The choice to leave college for me was, do I continue to put years of my life towards a cause where I'm not going to have my opinions respected by the scientific community? Because, the scientific community is about as bureaucratic as Congress. So if you don't know that about science, there's your wake-up call. It's what we understand as scientifically true is only what we understand as scientifically true, because that's what. So it took decades of somebody like me or Einstein, or I'm not saying I'm like Einstein, but like somebody like Einstein rather out there saying, nah, the time is relative and here's the mathematical equation proving it, right? Nobody accepted that for decades. It took so long for Einstein to be taken seriously, even though he was right. He's the most correct, he's created or presented the most correct model of reality ever conceived. So, that's what's wrong with science. They don't want to ever acknowledge that they're wrong until, kind of like the financial system, right? The financial system's not going to let XRP or Bitcoin or some other coin take over until they have no option but to allow that to occur, right? And so, to get to I don't want to answer anything about, religion or spiritual stuff, because I know that, that's a slippery slope and there's people all over the place, right? He's not right. Newton is wrong too, but I'm gonna say, I'll finish the sentence for you. I get where you're going from. Einstein wasn't right. Einstein is no more right than Newton was, but Einstein's model is more right than Newton's, right? Einstein's general theory of relativity was actually more correct, and that's why we use that over Newton. And it's because it's more accurate. We don't have a perfectly accurate model of reality, and I highly doubt humans will ever conceive of a perfectly accurate model. And if they ever do, it'll probably be some it'll probably be so abstract and outlandish that it will never be accepted. Nobody will ever acknowledge it, you know? Will you do a live stream of cameras in the forest from last live stream that had Bigfoot sightings, then make a stream of those cameras and maybe find a Bigfoot? That, I don't know. I don't know that I'm gonna find a Bigfoot in this little park here, because it's like, it's only like maybe like six or seven city blocks, so it's not super big, you know. Plenty of ways to get educated in this world. Knowledge is key to making money. Degree can help, but not necessary. Mac Daddy, that's how I feel too. And that's really why when I went to college to study neuroscience, not because I wanted the degree, but because I couldn't find the information that I needed to develop a comprehension of neuroscience, a comprehension of how psychology actually, as a field, you use it and apply it without going to college for it. I needed that formal education for that. Just like if I ever want to learn to code, I know that I'll never be able to learn to code unless I go to school for it, because it's just not something that I've been able to teach myself through studying online. There's so many things that I've been able to, but you'd like to see the car I'm living in. It's a 2006 Toyota Camry. So you can just Google one of them and it's pretty well taken care of. But it's cluttered with all kinds of crap. It's kind of embarrassing, I mean, it's clean, as clean as I can be living out of a vehicle, but it's still like, I don't want to show people the mess that I perceive that to be, but maybe I'll do a film to show everybody how I keep everything organized sometime, if that's something people actually want. This isn't the Area 51 raged live stream. No, we're not in Area 51 anymore. We are in Stearns Grove again, my favorite park to do these walks and talks, right? We will never know what reality actually is. It's impossible to prove any theory. Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to define reality, I think. I don't know about proving a theory, because when you look at what scientists have done with the Large Hadron Collider and astrophysicists have done by observing gravity waves coming from colliding neutron stars, they've done a pretty good job of proving Einstein's theory is correct, so just because his theory is correct, though, doesn't mean that it's the whole picture. And that's really what everybody needs to keep in mind, You should get a van or something bigger. I would, but the Camry's what I got, the Camry's what I got, and it's a good car. Or Corolla, I guess I can't. That's why I was like Camry. It's a good car. It's reliable too, and I get really good gas mileage out of it. And I just have one of my back seats that comes down, and that's where I put my bed into my trunk and the back seat. So that's how I stay comfortable at night. And I don't spend most of my time in the car, so I don't really need a big living space. It's just where I sleep, really. Where I sleep and how I travel. Tell viewers to check out the bell curve video you did if you haven't seen it. Oh yeah, absolutely, go check that out. I've got so many different videos on so many different things that I've done on the channel, but the weird thing about crypto community is that I've noticed is that nobody watches older content in regards to cryptocurrency. Everybody's out here looking for the breaking news that's gonna crack the market wide open. But I don't think that's coming, honestly. I think that, when the price goes up, we're all gonna be sitting around confused. Why is it going up? No news came out. And, it'll probably be days, if not weeks, before we get actual confirmation as to why the price goes up. If you're out here looking for that kind of news, you're not going to find it. I think that anybody who's doing their research, you need to be digging in the past to see what's really going on. I'm sorry to hear that, Fisher. I hope you've been dollar cost averaging since then. I mean, if you've been sitting on a bag since 186, then that's got to be some painful stuff. Buy morphed and your average. Yeah, exactly. XRP Legend. That's why I always suggest to people a dollar cost average. And if you're not dollar cost averaging in, it's going to take you so much longer to break even, because as the market goes down in this bear market, you're never going to, well, not never, but you're not going to see gains nearly as soon as you could if you were dollar cost averaging in. So like, who was that? I'm gonna use you as example, Fisher, and don't mean any offense by it, right? So say Fisher bought $100 in at 186, right? To get $200, the price has to get up to about, almost $4 for him to double his money. But if he put $100 in at 186 and then he put $100 in today at 25 cents, 24, whatever we're at, that $100 in at 25 cents would bring his average entry down to probably about 75, 80 cents. I don't have a calculator, just doing math on off the fly, right? But that would bring your average, you put $200 in and your average entry is about 75 cents. So you don't have to wait to get $400 at $4 price tag. You'll have $400 by the time it goes up to, basically your previous entry price, So XRP makes you FOMO for life. Absolutely. I can't not FOMO in the XRP. The more we find out, the more connections we find between, the Ripple's team and R3 and the IMF and the Bank of International Settlements and the World Bank and just all these supranational organizations who, oversee all of global finance. And then you tack on the fact that central banks from around the world are coming into this equation as well. It's like, how can anybody look at this and not want to just put everything? Like I want to, like, I'm down to the bare necessities in life, because that's how convinced I am this is gonna take off, right? Like, if I'm wrong, if in like 2 more years I don't see returns, if by 2021, the end of 2021, after ISO 20022 is mandatory to be adopted, if we don't see the price rally by then, okay, I might like say I'm just gonna let it sit, and then I'm gonna go live my life instead of instead of taking on this short-term pain I am now in hopes of long-term gains. That's really why the video says no pain, no gain. When I look at what I'm doing right now, some people might think I'm crazy. I kind of think I'm crazy to some degree too, admittedly. But, at the same time, the way I see it is that what I'm sacrificing here in the now is going to benefit me so much more in the future. Every ounce of pain I feel right now is going to be, 10 times the gain, 10 times the reward when it finally pays off. And instead of having any sense of guilt or, regret for not getting into this system, into this ecosystem as deeply as possible, then, since there's not going to be that regret, I'm going to just live a happy life afterwards, however much I end up with. If XRP only goes to $10, you know what? I've gone so hard on this, I'm going to be a millionaire anyways, and I wouldn't have become a millionaire if I didn't do what I'm doing right now. If I didn't go as hard as I am right now, Crypto Click says XRP will go to 16 cents. What do you think, Martian? Carl, in the short term, I could see it, hell, I've seen projections that I could get behind right now because of our price range, where XRP could go down to even 12 cents. I'm not worried about what XRP does in the short term though. And if you're worried about what XRP is going to do in the short term, you're going to get short term, you're going to get wrecked in the long term, rather, I guess is what I want to say, If you're only looking at short term gains, you're going to end up like the Federal Reserve, who's putting short term gains instead of in front of long term, consequences. And eventually, if you live a life where you're only chasing short-term gains and accepting long-term consequences, those long-term consequences are going to catch up with you. They will always catch up with you. So stop putting your short-term well-being ahead of your long-term well-being. But that's that's what everybody on this planet does, and that's why most people on this planet will never achieve success. That's why most people will never amount to anything in their lives, because they're hedonists. A hedonist, if you don't know, is somebody who's a pleasure seeker, and pleasure seekers die broke, always. Every hedonist ever will die broke. The only ones who don't are the ones who inherited $1 billion from their dad, and when you have that much money, you can't lose it. Like, it is impossible for an individual to go and lose that kind of wealth unless they're trying to. Or unless they, have a lot of really bad business ventures. But at that point, you're putting that funds into somebody else's hands to try and have other people grow your wealth. That's how you lose $1 billion. Trust other people with it. Everybody's talking about the XRP will go lower most of the time. Markets will do exact opposite of what everyone is thinking. Kai, that's true too, right? It does seem like every time everybody in the community is like, oh, it's going lower, it pumps. And then when we all get excited that it's gonna go higher, it dumps. So, that's why I'm fully accepting the price going down. If it goes down more, that just means that when my next paycheck comes in, hey, I'm benefiting even more from what I'm doing right now, right? If the price goes lower than what it is right now, that means that what I'm doing right now, living out of my car, that's gonna be to my benefit. If the price goes up from here, I haven't gotten a paycheck yet to be able to put towards this since I've started living in my car. So the last 2 weeks will be for nothing if the price goes to the moon on me now. I would have literally just made myself miserable for 2 weeks for no reason if the price goes up from here now. So I'm obviously betting on it going lower. I'm hoping it goes lower right for the short term, CKJ Cellmate, a man can hope, and that's, hope is the most powerful force in this universe, my friend. At least that's my belief. Waiting for 18 cents or less to fill more bags. Shoe? I'm hoping for 20 cents first. That's where I'll make my next, hopefully I'll be making my next really big purchase at 20 cents. But I wouldn't mind, loading up after the 20 cents. If we bounce off 20 cents and fall to 18, I'll buy again. And I'll buy again at 16 and again at 10. And I'm not going to stop buying XRP until the the global monetary system announces that something other than XRP is going to be used to provide global liquidity in the post-national, the post-centralized economy era where the dollar is the reigning king, because it's coming to an end. You don't have to be a financial expert to see that the dollar is coming to an end. The financial experts have been saying it since 2009 when we bailed out the banks and we put ourselves between the rock and a hard place. And ever since 2009, the rock has been sliding ever closer to us, and we as society, as the people who are using this dollar, we're doing everything we can to keep that rock from crushing us between that hard place. But it's too heavy, and we're losing strength day by day, and that rock's inching closer to our nose. It's only a matter of time before it crushes our skull. And those of us who are in XRP, those of us who are in digital assets, we're going to be the ultimate beneficiaries of that, because we saw the writing on the wall, and we're doing everything in our power to take the steps necessary to not be crushed by that, but to instead to just slip out of it, to jump up and let that rock crush everybody else underneath of us, because they didn't listen. They didn't listen when we were saying, we can't hold it back, Put away your pleasure now so you can never put them away later. Shoo, that's a good way of looking at it, right? Like, if you make enough sacrifices in the present, eventually, as long as as long as you're making, intelligent sacrifices, then down the line, those sacrifices are going to make it so you don't even you have to take smaller sacrifices to be happy, to feel contentment, to be able to do what you want while still growing your nest egg and still bettering yourself. Present Jay is sacrificing for future Jay. Exactly, cellmate. Exactly. At least I have my car. Exactly. And it's a good car. It's it's not a brand new car, but it runs like a champion. It's a Toyota, it'll never die. That's what it's like having an Oldsmobile, Everybody knows Oldsmobile didn't go out of business because their cars were crap. They went out of business because the Oldsmobile it ran forever. There's still Oldsmobiles out on the road. I think Oldsmobile has been out of business for like 20 years, and there's still Oldsmobiles on the road. That's how good that car is, right? That's why you invest in things that last, not things that are just gonna, look fancy and give you a good ego boost in the short term. That's not how you do anything. Do you really call this homelessness? That's why much appreciated, Dean. You can't be afraid to go homeless if you want to make it big. That's true too. Look at the most. I was just watching Mark Cuban, so I knew before I did this that Elon Musk. I'd watched an interview with Elon Musk talking about when he came to America from South Africa, and he lived out of a YMCA. I think he lived out of the same YMCA that I'm showering at, taking care of myself out of right now. But I just watched a Mark Cuban interview, and Mark Cuban did the same thing. He did the same exact thing before he became a billionaire. You don't get ahead in this world if you're not willing to make the sacrifices necessary to grow. You have to make those sacrifices. You're not going to ever achieve the ultimate pinnacle of what you as a person can be. Shoe utility is coming. I hope so. And I see it. I'm not even going to say I hope so. We see it coming, slowly but surely. MoneyGram is opening up corridors. And somebody pointed out the other day that the only corridors MoneyGram has open up right now, I'm hearing an eagle, but I'm not seeing them. Oh, they're up there. Yeah, you can't see them. But MoneyGram's only corridors that have opened up have been between Mexico and the Philippines. Why is it only Mexico and Philippine corridors that XRP is being used? Oh, because they're the only countries with regulatory clarity that is succinct with each other right now. And so they're the only places that they can use these assets yet. And so, utility's coming right behind that regulation. How long have you been accumulating XRP? WCUT, I've been accumulating XRP since August of last year. So about 14 months now. The man went homeless for a dream. Absolutely. If you're not willing to go homeless for your dream, is it really your dream? Is it really your dream if you're not going to go homeless for it? Me too, and I was also FOMOing at that point. Carl? What? I missed Carl's comment, I guess. Oh, when we went to 40 cents, I was sure we would never see 30 again. So who knows in the short term, once we see utility, this concern will go away. Absolutely, Carl. That's well said, brother. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Nobody knows how long this trend is gonna stay bearish. I expect that I don't think it can stay bearish past 2024. Honestly, I think that we're witnessing the fallout of the global economy right now. We're watching as everybody's scrambling and talking about recession on every mainstream news outlet. They're all talking about it. It's coming, and they've been talking about it for years now. This has been an ongoing, topic of discussion on all mainstream outlets for the last 2 years, and the sentiment's slowly changing, right? If you look back to 2009, 2010, when everybody was, saying, oh, well, the Fed did the right thing, they bailed us out. People like Peter Schiff were called, loons. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. No, it's fine. But he wasn't looking at what was going to happen in 2010, 2011. He was looking at what was going to happen in the long term as a result of this terrible fiscal policy that the Fed adopted. This bailout policy, right? When a man like this who has the money and financial expertise chooses to sleep in a car he bought as a strategy, you should not compare him with true homeless. Well, I will say this too. Yes, I do sleep in my car, Boris. That's what I'm doing right now. And, I know a lot. I went homeless in 2018 to accrue XRP, and I stopped because, I thought that we were going to see 589 by the end of the year. So I was like, well, I got enough XRP right now. If we go to 589, I am going to be loaded. I'm just going to go and, go down to Texas and get a place down with my family and live amongst them and just wait for this to mature at the end of the year. Didn't happen. And so now I'm back out to my car because I'm being given even better buying opportunities, and I want to capitalize on them as long as I can now. And this time around, I'm not getting out the car until I'm getting into, a decent house, until I'm buying a house with some of my XRP and starting some charitable, starting a charity to redirect most of it towards good causes. Because at this point, I've got enough XRP that when it moons, I'm gonna have more money than I will be able to spend in my lifetime, than my children will be able to spend in their lifetime. So, now I'm just accruing to see how much good I can do in the world when things take off. Ignorant question: why are coins with zero utility worth more than XRP? That's not an ignorant question. That's a legitimate question. And I think at the end of the day, the only answer that I can actually give you on that is that it's because we're in a speculative market, and most people don't understand how a currency gains value. They don't understand that a currency's value or a currency is only as valuable as its utility. And everybody thinks that everybody's stuck on the store of value narrative. They don't understand that the reason something is a store of value is not just because it has a limited supply, but because it has some kind of use and it has some kind of need. There's some kind of need for that thing to exist, and therefore people bet on it having that same need, if not more need, in the future, And with Bitcoin, that people confuse that. Most people are in Bitcoin because they just see this thing that's anti-establishment, anti-government, and that's why most people in Bitcoin are anarchists. And there's nothing against anarchists. I was an anarchist for half my life, but the ugly truth about being an anarchist is it's not going to make you money. If you're not willing to work with people, nobody's ever going to be willing to work with you, So that's why I went with XRP, because I was like, these guys, they might be working with the people that everybody hates in the world, that everybody calls evil, but they're working with the people who have the most money in the world. And if I want my currency to gain the most value, then I need to get behind the currency who is working with the people who are the most valuable to be working with. And that's how I see it. Did I sell my house? Unfortunately, I did not have a house. I've been a renter my whole life, so unfortunately, no. I wish I had some property. I had an opportunity to buy a house back in my early 20s, but I was a young 20-something. I didn't understand money back when I was 20. I was totally financially illiterate when I was 19, 20, That's why I have so much respect for Alex Cobb and Aiden Trading, because, these guys, these kids, I don't mean even to say kids, but, these young adults are ahead of the game. I wish I was that money literate at their ages. An analyst said the actual buying power of the dollar is 4 cents. How did they determine this? I've never seen that, Cheetown, so I can't really say for certain, but I don't doubt it, right? And somebody else has donated me. Let me scroll down here and try and find, whoa. I am so far behind. I'm so sorry, guys. I might have to, digital asset investor, welcome, bro. How's it going? A store value shouldn't be volatile like Bitcoin. Agreed. Hold on. Who donated? Human Tripod, 2 bones. Thank you so much. I'm inspired moving to LA for porn career. The Tripod. Your name makes so much sense now, Tripod. I get it. Damn, God gifted you in ways that every man only dreams of being gifted, right? You should be in a Kodak commercial. Crypto Mike, I love you, brother. That's some funny shit. Mr. Mills, is Eric Mills here? How's it going? General Mills. Eric, how you doing, brother? Thanks for popping in. Is the book good? Legend talked about a book. I need to scroll back up here and grab a few more. The focus is not on homelessness. The focus is on my man Jay's ambition. That's really what it is, Davis or Dean. Is I'm not trying to like bring focus to the fact that I'm homeless. I'm trying to bring focus to the fact that I'm living out of my car out of choice, out of the belief that what we are all as a community investing in, it's going to revolutionize not just the global payment infrastructure, but our individual lives as early adopters. Hit that like if you agree, right? I don't care if you think XRP is going to $1,000, $10,000, or $5. If you agree that we're about to be making money off this, hit that like. I ask the sane Cryptocasian, same question, Steve. Why do people buy BTC? What's the utility? Store value? Lol. Yeah, right? That's all Bitcoin has going for it. That's the narrative that they've been pushing on mainstream outlets for however long now is, oh, Bitcoin, it's a store of value. It's a store of value that went down to $3,000 or went to 20,000 and then crashed to 3,000 and now it's sitting at, 8 point whatever. Yeah, that's a real store of value there. It's a speculative hedge asset. That's what it is. And nobody wants to accept the ugly truth. But most of us here in the XRP community know that, I think, and I'm not, obviously disrespecting anybody who holds Bitcoin because I still got a little bit left myself. But that's not me saying that I think that it's got a long-term future. That's me saying that, yeah, it's going to make me some money in the short term. I think it can go up to 20K again. I think that Bitcoin might peak around 50K even, but we'll see what happens, My buddy's still pimping in Aurora. Man, I'm not gonna lie, even though I love how beautiful the Pacific Northeast is, I'm really about ready to just head down to San Diego because first off, it's cold. It's getting cold up here, so I picked a bad time to come up here. But also, like, I keep waking up and my entire car is getting damp now because, the moisture in my breath while I'm sleeping, I'm assuming, is causing everything to get moist, and it's just nasty. So I need to go somewhere a little bit drier so I'm not getting mildew all through my crap. You gotta be smart about how you approach this this kind of a lifestyle that I'm doing out here if you don't want to end up getting like some crazy scurvy or some nastiness. There's a lot of you answered questions. I don't understand how anyone could do more than 10 minutes of research and not lock in on XRP. It's so obvious to me. CryptoCajun, actually I'll tell you why, CryptoCajun. It's purely about ideology. It's purely about ideology, my dude. Like, I was like I have said a few times now, before I got into XRP, I was in Bitcoin. And I started investing in Bitcoin in 2017. And the reason that and I saw what XRP was doing in 2017. I saw the interview with Christine Lagarde and I just dismissed it because I was more dedicated to my ideology that the banks were corrupt, that they're all greedy a-holes that are going to destroy the world, and why should we give them power? Well, the thing is, they already have the power. That's what I wasn't understanding. My ideology blinded me to the reality of the present day and how the only way we get from present day bank-owned world to future day digital decentralized world is a gradual transition. And that gradual transition involves us first getting those banks to adopt a digital asset that they're comfortable with. And they're not comfortable with Bitcoin because most of Bitcoin is held by people that want the bankers dead, So, yeah, it's a strange contradiction that that the digital asset community has. Peter Schiff is going to the Hall of Shame with XRP. Actually, I don't know that he will, Carl. I don't know that he will because Peter Schiff has only been talking about, Bitcoin versus gold, right? And when Bitcoin goes to zero, when everybody on this planet stops pretending that Putin didn't make Bitcoin, like Dan Penna has pointed out, and I really believe it now that I'm thinking about it. Actually, I'm gonna present this to you in video format. Bitcoin is definitely Russian made. Definitely Russian made. Why else would RT and Max Kaiser in 2010 have been the first mainstream news outlet to start promoting Bitcoin on a regular basis? Why would they only ever be bullish on the sentiment, the future value of Bitcoin? Even when it crashed 90%, they were still saying, you gotta get this Bitcoin. The news is gonna tell you that it's not gonna go up, but it's gonna take over the world. Why would Russia tell you that? Why would they tell you that 2 years after this thing came out of thin air and was being used for illegal for illegal trade and black market trafficking on the Silk Road? Why would they tell you that if it wasn't because they have a vested interest in the Bitcoin ecosystem? Russia RT is 110% funded by the Russian government. So if Russia doesn't have a benefit to something, they're not going to propagate that. Especially something that could be of detriment to their currency as well. Because the Bitcoin's not just a threat to the dollar, it's a threat to all fiat. So they wouldn't have promoted it for so long if they didn't have a legitimate reason to, if Russia didn't have a vested interest in it. And if they've been promoting since 2010, just 2 years after the network really started, then what other reason? You know, why were they doing that? The only thing I can think of is they have a vested interest. If they might not have been the first person, they might not have been Satoshi, but they were definitely among the first miners getting the most Bitcoin they could in the early days. And they're probably sitting on a fat stack, and they're not going to tell you how much until it's too late. That's a conspiracy, granted, because there's no evidence for it. See, I can admit when I'm being conspiratorial. I know when I'm going off the deep end, but I still, the more that I've done my research into it, the more that I've really kind of looked back on the history of Bitcoin, the more it makes sense. To me, at least, you know? And if you don't agree, by all means, you know, I won't debate whether or not it's right or wrong. It's just, it's something that I'm seeing connections to. It's probably wrong, but we'll see. Why on earth are they betting on those instead of XRP, which actually has a constant flow of positive news? It's a mystery to me. You know, again, it's just who knows? It's the irrationality of the masses who don't understand anything about money and think that they're a part of a revolution that's larger than themselves with Bitcoin, right? That's really what it is. Bitcoin is an ideology. It's this thing that's bigger than any one person. And so that thing that's bigger than any one person it presents hope to these people who have no faith in the traditional financial system. And that's why they just can't accept XRP, because XRP to them is the potential that the financial institutions are actually going to adopt this technology and circumvent Bitcoin altogether. I wonder how all these walled gardens will probably stifle the price on XRP. So I don't think that the walled gardens are going to be a hindrance on the price of XRP. I think the more walled gardens we have, the better for XRP's price potential, because XRP is a price agnostic asset, whereas these walled gardens are going to be pegged assets. They're going to have a fixed value. And for those assets to be traded, to have their value validated, they're going to have to be traded against XRP, because that's how, you know, if you watch my SNB research conference, the 9th high level advisory council meeting, or what the heck ever it is, it's one of my longest playlists. It's got the IMF logo, and it was back in May. It was a big talk. There's all kinds of stuff around it. If you go watch that whole thing and you don't let yourself get distracted, you actually pay attention, your mind's gonna explode when you realize that all these central bank digital currencies are being promoted by Ripple, and they're being promoted because Ripple wants these banks to make their central bank digital currency so they can plug those CBDCs into RippleNet, into XRP, and connect the whole global financial system in a decentralized ecosystem, a level playing field. And that's what's going to happen. Human tripod, another. Oh, wait, yeah, I'm finally back to where you were. So I'll jump down here. Who we got here? Crypto Mike, what's up, brother? I appreciate all you guys tuning in. I love the fact that that so many of us that are, you know, regular content creators are out here regularly supporting each other. You know, it's awesome. Again, I can't say it enough. It's so awesome to me how interconnected our community is and how much we all support each other. You know, there are definitely some people out there who don't want to share the love with the rest of us content creators, but you know, to each their own. I see this as a collaborative effort, not a competition. And you know, I don't have any fear of you guys going and watching other streamers. That's why I sit out here and plug DNI and Crypto Mike and Digital Asset Investor, even though he doesn't need plugged, and Alex Cobb and Brad and all them, right? Because it doesn't, it's, to me, this is a community of people who are going to probably be some of my best friends once we hit the moon and we all start networking for how we're going to change this world for the better. Once everybody's like really believing that we're all about to be the new future elites, right? Wonderful scenery. Carl, it is a gorgeous park, right? I can't get enough of this place. I really can't. It's so gorgeous. I just really wish that the weather was a little bit nicer here. That's wonderful sacrifice, XRP Martian report. Hey, you know, it's not, I don't even know that I can consider it a sacrifice, even though it's a struggle, you know, having to always be moving between, find areas where, okay, there's a bathroom here, a public bathroom I can use here, I can shower here, you know, because you don't want to give the notion to people that you're homeless. At least I don't, you know. I know there's plenty of people who are homeless that obviously look homeless as hell, but I'm just not about that, you know. I want to look like I'm still at least civilized and got my shit together, you know what I mean? Lovely walk, beautiful, absolutely. I love this park and I'm glad y'all are out here enjoying it with me. If I could rent on crypto, that would be awesome, but I don't think my kids and wife would feel the same. No doubt. And you know, I get that most people out there can't go to this kind of extreme to save up like me. You know, I realize that I'm actually gifted in that regard, that I'm able, that, you know, despite the seeming misfortune of the fact that I have I've had low wage, you know, income for so many years, that this is how I'm getting that kind of money. You know, I don't have any, you know, I'm not trying to, like, you know, be like, oh, I'm gonna have so much more because I'm willing to do this, you know. I'm willing to do this because I'm able to. And, you know, I don't think you need to worry too much there, Brian. If you were able to afford to be a family man, I'm sure you've been able to afford just enough of these digital assets to get yourself ahead, right? And honestly, I don't think that my belief, because I think we're gonna see the price hit some crazy 4 or 5 digit figure before it finally caps out. You don't really need that much in this to, you know, be comfortable for yourself. The only reason I'm doing this is because I want to actually do something bigger than myself when this thing moons. I'm not just interested in getting XRP to better myself. I've got enough for that. You know, like I said earlier, I'm here saving up as much as I can so that I can do something bigger than myself. And we'll see what that ends up being, what I can afford to do, but you know, that's my hope. Liquidity is the biggest problem, and XRP is the last tool for the Fed that solves that. Yep, Carl, that's why I'm so confident too, right? Because what we're watching unfold with the global economy, we're watching unfold on the repo markets, right? Like we talked about yesterday. The fact that the repo markets are now having to be bailed out by the Fed every single day to the tune of, you know, $100 billion on average. That's just like, I don't get how people don't see that as a serious sign that we're nearing the end of this experiment, that this fiat experiment is just, it's gone as far as it can, at least in this cycle, you know. Maybe there'll be a dump. The market will correct by like 60%. We'll go into like a 2-3 year recession, or, you know, bear trend, whatever you want to call it. And that will facilitate the market, the crypto market, to go up, you know, maybe 10, you know, maybe where XRP goes to 10 or 100, right? But they're able to sustain the fiat system for another decade due to whatever quantitative easing method they take. Cool. They might be able to extend it for another 5 years. They might be able to get it out to even, you know, the Federal Reserve, I think, said that they'd be able to maintain solvency until 2036 or 2030. I think it's 2036. So, you know, maybe they have a plan in mind. Maybe they know what they're doing, that they can actually make that happen. But I think that the 2036 projection is based upon the narrative that they're going to keep this market from crashing before then. And I just don't think that's possible. What did DNI say that I missed that you're agreeing with? BTC's best role is as a crypto ambassador to lure new people into crypto, a gateway. It is. It's the gateway drug to digital assets, right? That's a good way of looking at it, honestly. And you know, I really think that that's probably, you know, like, even though I'm saying that Bitcoin's gonna go to zero when Putin comes out saying, "Hey, I made Bitcoin. Welcome to my economy." You know, in that case, you know, I think that it'll take a hit, but I don't know that Bitcoin could go to zero, just because if nothing else, it'll be a collector's item, you know? It'll be something that in the future economy, people want to hold on to one or two of, because it was the first to become widely distributed that everybody acknowledges, you know? It was the beginning of this new trend that this new economy we will all be living in. And so people will want it just to say, "I got some of that. Oh yeah, I got some Bitcoin too. You know? I don't really use it. It just kind of sits there, you know. I'll never spend it. I'll never sell it. You know, I just have it, right?" I think Bitcoin and gold will be pushed as the saviors of the upcoming recession, while silver and XRP will actually provide their best ROI. I think the same. You know, and that's such a good analogy, Crypto Mike, because the mainstream pushes that narrative on us, right? The mainstream's always talking about how gold is the hedge, it's the safe haven. But silver is the currency that is, or the asset that is incredibly suppressed, right? Anybody who knows anything about silver markets knows that JP Morgan has been suppressing silver markets for like 20 years now. And the price of silver is so, it's like, I think that I heard Peter Schiff say that it was 30 times undervalued. 30 times. I think gold is like 4 times undervalued. Because I'm pretty sure that I was reading somewhere else, I don't remember where, but it should be worth like $6,500 per ounce right now, and it's worth like $1,500. So it's about 4 times undervalued versus silver that's 20 plus. Like, what? But the same exact thing with Bitcoin and XRP, right? And it's ironic too, because silver is this, you know, there's a lot more silver in the world than gold, but it's more fungible. It's more liquid. It's been a better currency. Bitcoin is like the gateway drug. Yep. But yeah, that's a great analogy. I love that. And I know that a lot of people were using that analogy for Litecoin and Bitcoin, but Litecoin is just crap. Like, I mean, it's better than Bitcoin as a technology, but it just doesn't compare to the other the other cryptos like XRP that could actually be used as a legitimate currency. What's the value add of proof of work when better consensus methods have been developed? None that I can think of. Yeah, proof of work was a brute force method of validating the economy, right? It was just this brute force method or not the economy. It was a brute force method of protecting the value that was put into the system. It was the only way that Satoshi, whoever created it, was like, okay, this is a fail-proof system. Nobody will be able to destroy it, aside from 51% attack. But you know, that won't ever happen. China has 58% control of the network. It will never happen. But yeah, it's crazy stuff. I don't understand why people don't do their research. You know, people who have money invested in this ecosystem aren't trying to disprove themselves, right? Like, I'm confident in XRP. I'm as confident in XRP as I am, because after all this time of researching the ecosystem, I've not been able to debunk it. Like, I think a lot of people out there think that I'm a moon boy because I have this hopium dream based on some conspiracy, but I believe in XRP because I can't disprove it. And that's why I'm in it. I could disprove Bitcoin. I destroyed the Bitcoin network to myself, and that's why I don't have any more Bitcoin than any more in Bitcoin than I'm willing to lose. XRP, I don't care. I'm throwing the kitchen sink at it. You know, I'm gonna have so much in XRP. When that thing goes to zero, I'm gonna look back and be like, can I get a tax write-off for the next decade? Because I don't think I'll be paying taxes for a decade if I can claim this. Actually, I think I can, because I think it's like 5 years that you can claim, that you can project your losses in investments, right? something like that. So maybe I'll be able to. We'll see. The reality is banks die, but bankers live on to bank again. Yep, we're just going to transition from one banking system to another one. That's true. Bitch bank ain't going nowhere. Hodge twins. I love the twins, dude. They're so funny. So funny. Bitcoin is only good for buying heroin and assassins. Dean, that's why I don't talk about, that's kind of like why you don't trash talk Putin, right? Because he's in charge of that network. He buys all the assassins. But really, Bitcoin's not even good for that anymore, because everybody knows now that you can absolutely track Bitcoin, to whoever is moving it between who. So it's not even good for that anymore. Big data ruined that. Big data destroyed privacy in Bitcoin. But that's why Cardano and why am I spacing it now? Monero exist, right? I think Bitcoin is a laundering vehicle for Russia, China, and sanctioned countries. Yeah, that's what it's being used for more than anything, right? That's why North Korea has been mining up hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin. And that's the best part too, right? People are like putting money into something that a rogue nation with nukes, with a totalitarian dictator, has been putting his country's resources towards acquiring. Like how messed up in the head do you have to be to put your money into that ecosystem? Like what? I know that the rest of the, that there's not really a lot you can say good about the rest of the financial world. Everybody's got their skeletons in their closet, but like, it's just obscene to me that people are investing in that. I only hold it again because it's a hedge against XRP. It's a hedge. I still wonder why it's not public who is the creator of Bitcoin. I never trusted it. Kai, again, I think that it's not public because the person or persons who made Bitcoin, they have enough power before they made it to make sure that they were never traceable. And the only groups with that kind of power are big companies and nations. So kind of limits it, Dan Penna said, if the world knows who the creator is, it would go down to zero in a blink of an eye. Yeah, and it's funny that he said that, and then, like 6-9 months later, he released that little video clip on YouTube of him saying it was Putin. It was like, well, I guess Dan put a little too much faith in the rationality of humans to actually, to invest rationally, to put it simply, right? Puerto Rican, it's all good though, XRP family. Brad Kimes blocked me for doing that. Hope Martian is cool, dude. What? Kimes blocked you? You sure it wasn't an accident? What'd you do? Kimes is pretty cool. I don't know what, like you must have said something that triggered him or something. It might have just been like an accident, a mod that kind of like had a heavy hand. I know that he's got some mods that are heavy-handed like that, but if you reach out to him, I'm sure he'd unblock you. And it is a great place in London. Chinatown's a great place in every city. Well, most. I like Chinatowns. As long as Interledger protocol is standard, XRP will be used to swap every walled garden coin. Yep. And Bitcoin is arguably just as much of a walled garden due to the fact that it's not interoperable. Lightning Network sucks. If you are investing in Bitcoin hoping for Lightning Network to be the savior of the network, well, you're gonna have a bad day. Live streams breaking up. Ah, man. Well, that's not good. Is it still breaking up? What are your thoughts on the secret space program? I've not heard of the secret space program, but I appreciate it. We are part of history in the making. Carl Eric B. Mills, you are 100% right, my dude. We are a part of history as investors in this ecosystem, and none of us even realize just how big of a part of history we're really going to be. I applaud you for what you're doing. If I didn't have to take care of my family, and I was single, I'd probably follow in your footsteps. And again, yeah, exactly, XRP Carolina. Like, I have the ability to do this, and that's why I'm doing it. And it's, you know, it's not just, and the reason that I'm talking about it now is not to be like, woe is me, oh, my life. It's to say, no, listen, I'm so serious about this asset. I'm living in my car. I'm living in my car right now because that's how confident I am that XRP is about to shatter the universe. It's about to blow every person on this planet's mind from here to Timbuktu, and the whole world is going to fall to their freaking knees when they witness this thing go parabolic. And nobody is going to be ready. It's going to be so hard for most of us who are in this to actually hold. And that's why I don't feed into this nonsense narrative that people out there are like, well, I just don't want to be disappointed. What? You're going to be real disappointed when you cash out into a fiat that's going to zero. Don't cash out. Don't think about cashing out of cash. Who cashes out of the new world cash? Why would you spend your money? It's like this. Who out there wants to take $1,000 right now? You want to take $1,000 that you have today and buy some Venezuelan pesos or whatever the hell the Venezuelan currency is. Who's gonna do that? Anybody out there? I sure as hell am not, but you know, if you wanna go buy some pesos with your dollar, some Venezuelan pesos, as that currency's hyperinflating, go for it. Go for it. Tell me how it works out. Best investment choice of your life, right? But people don't get that that's what's gonna happen with digital assets compared to the dollar and every other fiat. That's why I say $10,000. That's why when people sit there and criticize me about it, I'm like, you don't understand money. If you think that it's not going to go to $10,000 per coin when all is said and done, you do not understand money. You do not understand what hyperinflation of fiat results in, the devaluation of your currency, how that is going to play out. If you don't understand, then I can't, I just can't, there's nothing I can tell you to really convince you of this, because you have to do the research. You have to understand how money works, how value is ascribed, That's why I'm out here, because I don't want to have any more fiat than I have to. I don't want to have to hold more than, it's twofold. It's not just that I'm wanting to invest more into XRP, it's that I don't want to have to hold any more in dollars than I have to. And having to hold on to enough dollars to pay rent, I don't even want to have to hold that amount of dollars, because I see it as this, I might be looking too far ahead to the future. I might be planning too far ahead, but I'm planning that far ahead because I don't know what black swan event could occur in the global economy that brings something that shouldn't happen for 5 or 10 years to happening today or tomorrow. And nobody knows. That's why those events are called black swans, because they're unexpected catastrophes that just cause the entire system to implode, and nobody will ever see them coming. They never see them coming. Copy on that, Carolina. I got seeds to feed, no doubt. I feel blessed that I'm at 30 and I don't have to worry about children yet, because I haven't made my bank, I haven't made my retirement fund yet, so I'm holding off on kids until I can focus on raising kids instead of focus on supporting kids. That's my game plan. That's why I'm 30 and don't have kids. It's not because I couldn't have. I'm sure that there are plenty of women who would have wanted to, but they're exes now for that reason. That's not really it. That's just that's just an excuse I give. That's terrible to say. Jay is the smartest. No, definitely not. He defies society's conventions and goes against the grain. I definitely go against the grain, and I hate society's conventions. And I think I see the future, but the question is, does anybody see the future? Do any of us? I think that the way I look at it, it's not that I'm claiming to be a fortune teller or somebody who sees the future. It's that I like to look at what's most probable, right? And I get that there is a probability that none of this takes off, that the governments of the world don't transition from the fiat system to a digital system, and everything goes to zero, and we live in a Mad Max world. It could absolutely happen. We could also have a nuclear war between China and America because they just can't agree on what a level playing field actually means to both of them. It could absolutely play out that way. I'm not saying it couldn't, but what I'm saying is that I'm betting on the probability of things working out for the better, you know, of it working out just well enough so that society can continue forward and progress can continue on. Because when you look at human history, we have 10,000 years of uninterrupted advancement. The Black Plague didn't stop us from advancing. World War I and World War II, that just helped us grow faster, you know? So the way I see it, it seems like it doesn't matter what happens in any one part of the world to any one group of people in this world. Technology just keeps on keeping on. The human species continues to plunge forward and drive that hammer or drive that nail into the wood and build that foundation for the next generation. It doesn't matter how scary it gets, we're still going, you know? And so that's what I'm betting on. I'm betting on that trend to continue. You can only defy the tax system and yet marry, or you cannot defy the tax system and yet marry. That diamond ring is blood diamond. Oh, and diamonds too, right? So I was on with somebody in our Telegram group, in the Dollar Cost Average Telegram group, was just doing everything in his power to play devil's advocate as to how, like, he was saying, you know, XRP can't hit this price, it can't hit that. And I said, what's the market cap? You know, he was using the excuse that, you know, there's not enough money in the world to put the market cap at whatever price. And my question is this, I'm gonna ask it to everybody out there, 80 of you listening, what's the market cap, not the supply, but the market cap of the US dollar? What's the market cap of the euro, of the Chinese yuan? What are their market caps? Does anybody denominate how valuable the dollar is in a global market cap? No. So why are we doing that with our digital asset, our new world currency? Why is anyone acknowledging that argument? Why do we even entertain people who say that to us? Like, we should just laugh at them. They should just be laughed at. They should be mocked. They should be, yeah, go tell that to the US dollar. Hey, go tell the US dollar shouldn't be worth $1 because its market cap, you know, it's bigger than the market cap of the world. No, yeah, it's the dollar. Come on, no. But, like, seriously, right? It's obscene. It's obscene to me that that's a thing. We should help donate to his sacrifice can be easier if he hits his goals. Then we see that as a good example. Well, Universal, I don't know what my goal is, to be honest. You know, my goal for what I'm trying to save up to here, hold on, we got a new viewer. I know there's 77 of you here in the room, but I've got a viewer right here, and a live viewer, and I think he wants to say hi to everybody. His name's Twigs. How's it going, Twigs? Thanks for joining the live stream. What do you think? Will XRP hit 10,000 per? Do you think so? Yes? Okay. You heard it here first. The squirrel agrees. XRP will hit 10,000 per. You ain't gonna run up my leg, are you? You're so brave, dude. I was literally like a half foot from this dude before he's like, all right. I'm done playing chicken. But yeah, I don't really have a maximum goal for how much XRP I'm trying to get now. I'm just trying to get as much as I humanly can. That's my goal. You know, I hit my goal for myself, like I said, last year. So what I'm saving up to now, this is what I'm gonna be able to put towards the rest of the world. Smash them thumbs up, y'all. Hashtag likes. I appreciate anybody who takes Chinatown's advice there and hits that like. Your channel really blew up. Congrats, Datley. It did. So many people started tuning in, or so many people tuned in for the Area 51 raid. Unfortunately, you know, as you can see with the viewer count right now, most of those people kind of disappeared. You know, they were all like 16, 15-year-old kids that were just in it for the memes. But you know, hey, the memes are paying the bills. The memes are gonna buy me a lot of XRP at the end of this month. A lot of XRP. Ripple will be the largest private company in the world. XRP will be 15,000 per coin and will have to come off CoinMarketCap eventually. Crypto Brands Corp. I mean, it will. I think by the time, yeah, we need to take a poll. we need to figure out at what dollar value will nobody actually be trying to buy XRP or any crypto with dollars because they became literally worthless. What dollar value is that? Is that like, does it happen by 10,000? Does it not happen till $100,000 XRP? That's the dollar value I want to try and figure out, because if we can like agree on that dollar value, that's the dollar value I'm just gonna start putting in all my videos to trigger all the skeptics and bears out there, because they seem to get so butthurt. They seem to think that I'm actually out here like, you know, convincing people that, oh, they only have to put $10 in something to become a millionaire. Okay. Somebody puts $10 in XRP and it goes up to, you know, from here to $30. Guess what? Their $10 became $1,000. That's the best $10 investment somebody made in their life. I don't think anybody's gonna be disappointed that they just made $1,000, you know, off of lunch money, right? I'm investing in this, assuming it's going to $10,000, but preparing, getting enough funds so if it goes to $10, I'm taken care of, and my family's taken care of. You know, if it goes to $10,000, if it goes to $100, then I'm taking care of a whole city, maybe a state. If it goes to $1,000, all right, I'm gonna take care of a third world nation. If it goes to $10,000, okay, I'm gonna save this world from poverty. That's the way I'm looking at it, right? I'm probably, that's definitely a lot more hopium than most people want to accept in life, but hey, that's my goal. My boy Tebow XRP told me to tell you that he said hello. It's been out in the desert away from the signal, starting a compound for something of which I don't understand, but he's doing good. He says hi. Well, tell Tebow I said hi. I was wondering where he actually disappeared to, Dendre. I haven't seen him in a minute. That's interesting. I wonder what he's actually doing out there in the desert. Your live stream is fine on my end. Oh wow, I'm way backed up in the comments, aren't I? Ask someone their nationality because of their nickname. Was that what happened? I'm not gonna lie. Before I showed my face on camera, because my name is Jade, people were thinking it was Jayed. So everybody thought I was Arabic before I showed my face. I was getting so many racist remarks in my comments, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna show you all my face so you know I'm a white dude, so you don't feel like a bunch of assholes for trying to get racist up in my comments. If XRP is destined to be the currency of the New World Order, then there's no fighting it. Just lay back and let it happen. Dean, that's the way I see it, right? Like when I was investing in Bitcoin, I had this anxiety that, oh, what if the powers that be decide to actually wise up and adopt this thing? And then I was thinking about it, I was like, you know, I'm definitely not the smartest person on this planet, not even close. And the people who rule the world, the New World Order, or the ruling elite, whatever you want to call them, the Illuminati, whatever name you want to ascribe to those people, they're definitely smarter than us. That's why they rule the world. You know, we can all say this because they were born in the power, but you know, they were born in the power because their parents were smart enough to obtain power. And I hate to say it, but intelligence is a genetic thing. If you're smart, chances are your kids are going to be smart, unless you marry it, you know, unless you have kids with a dumbass, and you know, you get an average of the IQ between them. But statistically speaking, if you're smart, your kid's going to be smart. And because your kids are going to have a better education than you, they're going to be smarter than you. They're going to be more well educated. They're going to have better connective patterns, or better pattern recognition. They're going to have all these other cognitive faculties opened up to them because of the quality of their education, the quality of information that they were given access to, on top of the fact that they inherited your predisposed, your baseline IQ. It's an ugly truth, when it comes to eugenics, there's a little bit of legitimacy to that. If we killed all the idiots on the planet, there'd be a new level of what we consider an idiot to be, right? It's an ugly thing to think about, but in that regard, I'm not saying that eugenics is good. I think that everybody, whether you're dumb or smart, you have a right to live. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying that, it's absolutely a genetic thing. It's a genetic thing that is fortified by your environment. Look at each bank as one trader putting in billions per day using XRP. Facts, my friend. I need to reread that. Look at each bank as one trader putting in billions per day. Oh, yeah, like you're talking about like when they, inject liquidity into the market. Yeah, that's the other thing too. That's the other thing. And you know, I again, I have serious respect for Alex, so don't think that I'm like bashing on Alex when I say this, but Alex keeps saying that there's just not the liquidity there. There's not the liquidity in the market. The reality is, the liquidity will be there the second banks need it to be there. The Federal Reserve, hey, guess what there's this thing, it's called the repo market, and it had a liquidity crisis. How did it get solved? The Fed printed fiat out of thin air, and guess what? The liquidity crisis is not a thing. It was a blip. It was an error. There's no liquidity crisis. We put billions of dollars there. It's not there anymore. That's how you get liquidity. You tell the Fed, hey, you want your monetary system to continue to not just collapse into nothingness? You need to liquidate this new means of facilitating cross-border payments. That's how you do it. And I'm not the first person to think about that. I promise you, the people at the Fed, the people at Ripple, the people working with Ripple and R3, they know that. It's a total misnomer. Anybody that's out there spreading that, they're spreading a FUD, and they don't even realize they're spreading FUD. It's like people out there trying to say that the price can't go above a certain point because of the market cap. It's like, no, currencies don't have market caps. Securities have market caps. And if you think XRP is a security, well, you know, you can go argue with the SEC. You can go argue with the FCA over in England. It's not a security. It's a utility. It's a currency. So then, you know, it's FUD. But, you know, you have to convince somebody that's spreading those kind of things, you'd have to sit there and talk with them for like 6 hours and probably sit there and present like 70 plus sources just for them to stop saying, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, no, just do your research. Stop sitting there living in a bubble. And again, that's nothing against Alex. I get that he's still young. He's still growing his knowledge set. And again, like I said earlier, he knows more about this space or about money at his age than I did when I was his age. So I'm not trying to rag on Alex. I love Alex's content. He's one of the reasons that I started my channel, because I was like, man, this kid's out here sharing, like, this kid's out here creating this content, and people were listening to him cover it, even though, you know, he's a 19-year-old, because he's covering facts. People are still tuning in because nobody else in the world's talking about it. And so it's like, I respect him that he has the courage to come out and share these things and to learn and grow as an individual. And I have massive respect for each of you who tune into all of these different channels like mine and DNI and Crypto Mike and everybody, just to get a different perspective from, just one or two channels that most people tune into, just one or two content creators. Most people are, they're a one avenue kind of mind, but there's at least 80 people in here right now who, you understand that the best way to be informed is to consume multiple points of view. And I'm sure some of you don't agree entirely with half of what I say, and that's fine. The fact that you're even engaging with it, you're even hearing somebody with viewpoints other than yours, that's why you're going to be more informed than anybody else. That's why you have a better grasp of this than most other people who aren't doing exactly what you're doing right now, right? And that's why I love doing these live streams, where I can sit here and look at you guys' questions and the things that you guys make me talk about, things that's coming out of my mouth. It's because I'm sitting here reading things you guys are saying, like, wow, and then I have this thought based upon the connections that I've made and what you're presenting. Most people don't think that way. You will have kids later when you're financially set. That's smart. XYZ or ZYX. Yeah, that's I grew up in poverty. That's why. I was raised by two parents who were, on Social Security. Both are disabled, one physically, one mentally, and so that's why I would never bring a kid into this world as anything other than financially secure myself, because my parents, the only thing they, nothing against my parents, they're fantastic individuals, but the only thing they had to offer me is growing up is their unwavering love and support of me, and their belief that I could achieve whatever dream I set myself to. And even though that was a really good environment, it was a very positive environment to grow up in, the scarcity that I knew prevented me at a younger age of really getting ahead of the system. Because it doesn't matter how smart you are. The only thing being intelligent does is tell you how easy it is to pass the test in school. And I'm sure that there's plenty of A+ students in this chat room right now. People who are A+ students in school that are on minimum wage as well right now, because grades don't make you rich. It's like I can't remember. There's so many rich people who have said it, but it's C students who employ A students, because A+ students are the students who are only interested in following the rules and providing the right answer. But the thing about life is there is no right answer. And the way that you're educated in school is a total sham. It teaches you to think completely wrong about how reality actually functions. And that's why so many kids will come out of high school or college and be totally screwed, for lack of, to be as polite as possible about it, right? Like, most people that go to school, as soon as they come out, unless they had a parent or a grandparent or somebody really teaching them the rules of the game, they're screwed. They're not going to know what to do. They're going to be sitting there working a crap job because they're not going to ever get a job in the field they want. They're going to be like me, right? They're going to be like me, sitting out here living out of my car because I couldn't get a 6-figure salary for any of the fields that I went in to study that I should be making 6 freaking figures in. All the currencies are getting their currencies revalued as well. Dinar, Zim, etc. Global currency reset. Yep. Yeah, it's happening in the small third world, quote, third world, second world nations first. And it's finding its way, it's seeping its way into the developed world. And what we're witnessing unfold in Europe right now, it's gonna find its way to America, because it rooted its way all the way from third world and developing countries into the developed world now. And so, it took like 4 or 5 years for what we saw unfolding in third world nations and developing nations to finally have an impact on the developed economies. Well, it's having an impact now. So if anybody thinks it's going to take longer than it took to have an impact on these economies for that to play out in the developed world, it's my humble belief that you're delusional. You're feeding yourself a delusion, because you don't want to embrace the fear of what that means for life, as most of us live it. Thumbs up, and away to the moon. To the moon! Who let the bulls out? I can't wait till moon, man. I can't wait. But I'm gonna head up this hill to the car, so by the time we get up there, I'll show you guys the vehicle, since so many of y'all asked, just to share it with y'all, and I'll take a few more questions on the way up there. I've heard it, Martian. You're here, you're early, don't get squirrely. Absolutely. Unless you're chatting with the squirrels like we were earlier, they're pretty cool. That squirrel seemed pretty cool. I don't know. Made eye contact with him. I felt his soul for a minute. I'm just kidding. I'm praying for an alt season so I can finally unload them. John, you do you. And you know what? I would like to start trading. I think if we get a moon before I can get, within the next 2-3 months, if we get a moon before the end of the year, then I'm gonna go back to trading, because I know how to trade now. I spent a year and a half, well, about a year sucking at trading, and then about 6 months actually doing it successfully. But after that amount of time, I was so burned out on bad trades that I was like, oh, I got a few good trades. I'm just gonna stop. But I understand how to read charts now. That's also why I think the price is just gonna go down from here. We haven't seen a reversal signal yet, in my opinion. The volume we're seeing right now does indicate that we're near that point. That's why I think it's about 3 to 6 months, but we haven't seen a price, like a price or a technical indicator outside of volume that the market's gonna rally, the alts are gonna rally yet. Chipmunk Oracle. Good energy. Crypto Mike, it's always good energy, bro. Especially when I got people like you and DNI in the stream. and XRP Carolina and Kai and all of you guys. Seriously, like so many of you guys who are reoccurring, constantly tuning into me. I wish I could shout out all 80 of you without it taking like a half hour. I can't even see all the people that are actually in the stream. I have to like go based upon who comments regularly, but I recognize you guys who regularly tune in, and I really appreciate you guys constantly coming in. You know, I view myself as a nut job, so the fact that people out there tune in, you know, I appreciate it. At least somebody listens to my crazy rants. Not even one dislike, Jade. Everyone loves you. I appreciate it. It's awesome to have so many cool people out there, dude. I really can't wait to meet some of you all in person. I know there's a few people in the San Francisco area, so we need to plan a West Coast meetup, because I know that Crypto Mike's out here too, actually. So maybe me and Crypto Mike can network together. Me and you can network together, dude, and try and plan an event. Maybe like, I don't. You're in the LA area, aren't you? I think. But yeah, we need to network a West Coast meetup, because all the XRP people over there on the East Coast and in the South keep doing their meetups, but you know, we out here on the West are too cool to hang out, I guess. I don't know. How can they stop this new wealth from emerging? It seems like it's impossible now. The balls, right? The ball's rolling. That's how I feel. But we'll see what happens. We'll see. Let's see. I would like to consider myself such, Carl, a good humanitarian, but you know, we all have our demons, our skeletons. I definitely have mine. I can have a lot of ego, but you know, I just try and direct that ego towards good things, towards the betterment of people, and not just towards the betterment of myself, you know. And I think that's where the ego comes from too, is that I have this desire to help people as opposed to just help myself. And I love that there's so many of you guys out here that are with that you have that same mentality. Anyways, that's the ride. My beautiful Corolla here. Ain't she pretty? She needs a bath. But you know, that'd be like 40, 50 XRP to give it a bath. And you know, I'm not really too worried about making her look pretty. As long as I keep her oil changed and running, she's good. But yeah, Alex is gonna be rich as all get out. But thank you guys again for all tuning in. Notorious, you managed to make it at the very end of the stream, brother. Glad to see you turned out. But thank you all, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you all have a fantastic day. As always, if you haven't already, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe, ring that bell so you can be notified when I'm actually gonna do another video. And I'll see you guys next time, right? As always, on Mars. Thanks again. I did get so many questions. I wish I could, but my battery's getting low. So thanks again, guys. Hope you all have a good one. And I'll see you on Mars, right? Later.